I love to go for daily walks as it's a great way for me to unwind. I typically go early in the morning or after I get home from work. There is a route that is quite close to where I live, which amounts to just over 4,000 steps. It is perfect for me and takes me just over a half hour to complete. I know it is not much of a walk, but it helps me feel like I achieved something with my day. I try to be polite and will smile and nod at people as I meet them. I have absolutely no clue who most of them are, but it feels like the polite thing to do. Most of them will give the same simple polite nod, while others flat out ignore me. I was walking along at a normal pace when I first saw him. He was dressed in all black and his face seemed shrouded in darkness, even though the sun was shining. My instincts were screaming at me to keep my head down, but I ignored them and gave him a polite nod. I reached the end of the path and turned around and then froze in terror. The man stood right behind me and his face was inches from my own. His heavy breathing was the only sound I could hear as everything else around us was deathly silent. His breath stung my eyes and reminded me of the smell of rotting flesh. His face still hung in the shadows, and all I could see were the two orange eyes which seemed to be taking in every aspect of my body. A smile appeared on his face, and I wanted to scream as I saw the teeth that had been sharpened into fangs. His tongue shot out of his mouth and I screamed internally as it caressed my face. There seemed to be little suction cups on his tongue as I could feel them attaching to my skin. I heard voices in the distance and was relieved to see a family walking towards us. The man looked at me for one brief moment, before walking briskly away. I couldn't move my legs for a few minutes as my legs were glued to the floor. The family walked past me and they gave me a polite nod before continuing on. When I finally convinced my legs to start moving again, I practically ran home and locked the door. I tried to tell my family about my experience, but they think it was just a nightmare I had. I have changed the direction I go for my walk, but I keep seeing that man everywhere I go. He is always standing in the distance and no one else seems to pay attention to him. His smile gets wider every time he sees me looking in his direction. Last night, I awoke in the middle of the night and went to use the bathroom and saw his eyes gazing in from outside the window. I don't understand how he scaled the building, as I live on the top floor. He began gently rapping on the window and started indicating for me to let him in. He looked disappointed as I slowly backed away and fled back under my covers. I could see his eyes staring in at me, even with the sheets over my head. I awoke this morning to find he had carved a note into the outside of the glass which simply read, "See you soon." I think I may have messed up by being polite to him, and now await whatever fate he has in store for me.